All right, let's talk about the Solomon Islands. You mentioned it. A senior Republican senator, he's arguing that America's military presence in Australia should increase to deter China's aggression in the Pacific. Would the government be open to this?
I think that's a good reflection on the times we're in, and that's why I've been saying it. I've been driving your viewers sick by saying we've got to become as strong as possible, as quickly as possible. I've been saying that for a long while, and now you're quite clearly seeing why I say that. And our relationship with the United States has to be as strong as possible, because we don't have the platform in our own right to match up to a military superpower, which is China. So we must work very closely with the United States, but to pay for a military and also our NDIS and our health system, we've got to export as much iron ore, as much coal, as much gas as we possibly can, because the wealth that comes into this nation comes from exports. In fact, 8 of our 10 biggest exports are resources, agricultural resources and mining resources, and even tourism. One of the reasons we're doing up this airport, so we get more tourists into the Hunter Valley. We've got to earn export dollars if we're going to import foreign fighter jets. And, you know, it's the same with everything you wear. As I say, look at it. You're wearing probably a dress from overseas. You drove here in a car from overseas with fuel in it from overseas. Your phone's from overseas. Your fridge is from overseas. Your stove's from overseas. So somebody somewhere has got to be putting something on a boat and sending the other direction, as well as bringing in nuclear submarines and fighter planes to try and make sure that your sons and daughters and grandsons and granddaughters are not put in a position where they're threatened and where they're, you know, subjugated and intimidated, and therefore our relationship with the United States has to be as strong as possible. Circumstances have changed. I wish they hadn't. Our focus has got to change.
Just finally, Deputy Prime Minister, yesterday the Greens leader said that people are turning away from politics because of these so-called gotcha moments. Do you agree?
Well, I think that more concerning about the Greens leader is he's quite open saying he's going to have a coalition with the Labor Party, and the Labor Party can't get in with Green preferences. So you've got a choice. You can have a Nationals and Liberal government, or Greens and Labor government. You can have Mr Dutton as your Defence Minister, seeing you just mentioned it, or Brendan O'Connor, who not even Mr Albanese wants. You can have Josh Frydenberg as a Treasurer, or Jim Chalmers, who apparently also Mr Albanese doesn't want. And you're going to have Mr Bant with the Greens in there sort of directing the traffic. He wants to decrease our defence spending, put an immediate embargo on the export of our major exports, our second and our third major export for this nation. I mean, good luck with that trick. I don't know where you're going to end up, but it's going to be a town court hell.
All right, but gotcha moments, is that turning people off politics?
Look, I think that it doesn't change elections, but in key areas such as the Prime Minister and in obvious numbers, people are very surprised if you go around saying, "Don't worry about us, we're as safe as the Nationals and the Liberals," and then you don't get the basic ones right. You know, you don't have to go right down into the weeds, you know, and say how many Smarties in the packet, but things that are, you know, pretty much top line. Yeah, you should know them, especially if the thing about that. So talking about it all the way through budget week. I mean, if they said it once, it's been said 400 times, and that's why people are surprised. They're going, yeah, we're not like I was talking about the bill rate in Kazakhstan. We're talking about the unemployment rate in Australia.
Barnaby Joyce, we have to leave it there. Thank you for joining us this morning.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.